Okay, we're going to look at a slightly harder question with Venn diagrams now. I'll start by reading through the question. So there are 30 people in an office. 12 have an A-level in art, 10 have an A-level in biology, 11 have an A-level in Latin, 3 have A-levels in both art and biology, 8 have A-levels in both biology and Latin, 4 have A-levels in both Latin and art, and 2 have A-levels in all 3 subjects. Okay, so we have 3 different options, art, biology and Latin, and we have intersections between subjects and an intersection between all 3. So we're going to need to have 3 circles within our Venn diagram. We start with a rectangle. And we have 3 overlapping circles. Okay. Need to make sure they're big enough so that you can see what you've written nice and clearly. And then we're going to label them. A for art, B for biology, L for Latin. Okay. So as I said with the previous Venn diagram, we start from the end of the question. So we always start from the centre and work our way out towards the outside of the Venn diagram. Okay, so we have 2 of the people in the office who have A-levels in all 3 subjects. So this bit in the middle here, as you can see, is an intersection between all 3 subjects. So those 2 people who have A-levels in all 3 are going to go in the intersection between all 3 subjects. Okay. 4 have A-levels in both Latin and art. So if we, I'm just going to highlight as our art circle, and then if I highlight our Latin circle, you can see that the intersection between those 2 subjects is this bit here. Okay, this is the intersection between Latin and art. So we know that 4 have A-levels in both Latin and art. That 4 is going to include the 2 people who also have an A-level in biology. Okay, so we've already got 2 in this intersection. We need to take that 2 away from the 4, which will leave us with 2 people in here. So now we've got a total of 4 in the intersection between Latin and art. Okay. 8 have A-levels in both biology and Latin. So if we go over our circle for biology, okay, we can see that biology and Latin intersect here. Okay, we've already got 2 students in the intersection between Latin and biology. We've got 8 altogether. So 8, take away those 2, leaves us with 6. And now we've got that total of 8 in the intersection biology and Latin. 3 have A-levels in both art and biology. So we're looking at the art and the biology circles. These intersect here. Okay, this total has to add up to 3. There are 3 that have both biology and art. Take away the 2 we've already got in there, leaves us with 1. Okay, so we're working our way outwards. 11 have an A-level in Latin. So notice it doesn't say an A-level just in Latin. It says they have an A-level in Latin. They could also have A-level in biology and or art. Okay, so if we look at our Latin circle here, this has to add up to 11 because 11 people have an A-level in Latin. So we've already got 6 plus 2 plus 2, which is 10. Take that 10 away from the 11, leaves us with 1 person who has Latin only. We then look at 10 people have an A-level in biology. If we look at our biology circle, this has to add up to 10. We've got 6 plus 2 plus 1, which is 9. That leaves us with 1. 10 take away 9 is 1 person who has biology only. And lastly, we have 12 people who have an A-level in art. So there's our circle for art. We've already got 2 plus 2 plus 1 is 5. Take that away from 12. That leaves us with 7 people who have an A level in art only. Okay, so we've completed the circles in our Venn diagram. The last thing we have to do is to see how many, if any, don't have an A level in any of these three subjects. So we know that there are 30 people in the office altogether. So if we add up these totals, that just means adding all the numbers. 7 plus 2 is 9, plus 2 is 11, 12, 13, 19, 20. So this total adds up to 20. There are 30 people in the office, so there must be 30 take away 20, 10 people who don't have an A level in any of these three subjects. Okay, so we've completed our Venn diagram to represent this data. The first question here, one person is chosen at random. Find the probability that they have an A level in, and then there's some different subjects listed. So the first one, biology only. So we want the probability that they have an A level in biology only. So if we look at our biology circle here, each of these are all within the intersections between art and Latin. So there is only one person who has A level biology only. Okay, and this is out of the total number of people in the office. So the probability of an A level in biology only is going to be 1 out of the total number of people, which is 30. Okay. Question B, we want the probability that they have an A level in Latin or art. Okay, so remember from the last video, if you watched it, where we have the probability of one thing or another, we need to add the total probabilities. We want the probability of Latin, the probability of art, and then we want to add them together to get the total probability that they have an A level in either Latin or in art. Okay, so the probability that they have an A level in Latin doesn't say only Latin, it just says Latin. So we want the total number in Latin, 2 plus 2, which is 4, plus 6, plus 1 is 11, over 30. And then we want the probability of art, which we can look up here, actually tells us that 12 people have an A level in art, and we know this adds up to 12. Okay, so as I said, we're going to add those probabilities together. We've already got a common denominator. 11 plus 12 is 23. So the probability of Latin or art is 23 over 30. Okay, question C asks for the probability that they have an A level in at least one of the three subjects. So it doesn't say only one, it says at least one. So they could have 2 of the subjects or 3 of the subjects. So we want basically everyone within the circles, because everyone in here has at least one of those subjects. Okay, so we know that this all adds up to 20. So the probability that they have at least one of the 3 subjects is going to be 20 out of the total number of people, which is 30. And we could simplify that to 2 over 3, both the numerator and denominator are divisible by 10. Lastly, we are asked for the probability that they have an A level in one subject only. Okay, so if we look at the probability of art only, there's 7 altogether that have art only, 1 that has biology only, and 1 that has Latin only. If we add that up, 7 plus 1 plus 1 is 9. The probability of having one subject only is a total number of 9 office workers out of the total number, which we know is 30. So one subject only, the probability is going to be 9 out of 30. Both the numerator and denominator are divisible by 3. So we could simplify that fraction to 3/10.